magnetic, no force. So here, these are the magnets which does not has no poles, which means here it is a magnetic substance. To this magnetic substance, we wounded copper wire, right? And that is what we call as toroid. So here it is a magnet. It acts as a magnet, but it does not has any poles because it is dependent upon its shape. And it is also a solenoid. It is also looks like similar, but here in this case we did not place any magnetic substances, but just we wound the copper wire so that it acts as a solenoid. Here these two acts as a magnet. It has the magnetic power. These substances also attracts another magnetic substances, but this is possible only in the case of when we give the electric supply, DC supply. Then only these magnets, these acts as a magnet, plus and minus. Here also. These acts as a magnets only when we give the DC supply. Clear? That means some power, DC power. Then only these acts as a magnet. Otherwise, these are not magnets. Clear? Next, magnetic moment is nothing but it is denoted with capital M, and pole strength is denoted with small m. Clear? Magnetic moment is denoted by capital M, and pole strength is denoted with small m. So magnetic moment is defined as the product of pole strength into its effective length. Magnetic moment is the product of pole strength into effective length. Nothing but magnetic moment is denoted by the letter capital M. Is denoted by capital M. So magnetic moment capital M is equal to small m into L. Right? So coming to the units for pole strength, it is ampere meter. 2 is a constant. For length, it is meter. So units is ampere meter square. So ampere meter square is the SI unit, and ampere centimeter square is the CGS unit. SI unit is ampere meter square. CGS unit is ampere centimeter. Clear? Right. If we cut that bar magnet into two halves, horizontally and vertically. if we cut that bar magnet into two halves horizontally, and here in this case is vertically. Okay, so here it is the north pole, actual north pole is north pole, and actual south pole is south pole. So even if we cut it into two pieces, each piece also has same side north pole, south pole, south pole. For this horizontally. Next, for vertical bar magnet, for vertical cut bar magnet, the north pole is like this. If you break it, this is the north pole and that is south pole. This is the south pole and that is the north pole. Right? Then what happens to its magnetic moment and its pole strength for each piece? Right? So, actual pole strength is pole strength. What is the formula for pole strength? Actual pole strength is M. Pole strength is M. Here in this case also actual pole strength is M. Here, that is the pole strength of each bar magnet. Before, if we cut into pieces, right? Now, the change in pole strength, M dash. Let's take as M dash. So here the pole strength changes as M by number of pieces. M by number of pieces in horizontal. Here. Then what about this vertically breaking case? Since vertically breaking case, the change in pole strength M dash, change in pole strength M dash is equal to M. Here, if you break into pieces, the pole strength is reduced to N times. If you make two pieces, M by 2. If you make three pieces, M by 3. Here N is nothing but number of pieces. In this case, the pole strength changes. Whereas in this case, the pole strength will not change because of we are breaking it vertical. But here in this case, horizontal. So here, it is the actual pole. We are breaking this actual pole into number of pieces. So that's why the pole strength changes. What happened to its magnetic moment? So here, original magnetic moment is, actual magnetic moment is capital. Here also actual the magnetic moment is capital because of magnetic moment is denoted by capital. Right? But what happens to the magnetic moment when the bar magnet is cut in horizontal direction? So here also the magnetic moment is changes. So change in magnetic moment, change in magnetic moment is equal to, let's take it as M dash is equal to M by N. So here also the magnetic moment changes. The magnetic moment changes. Here in horizontal direction, if we cut the bar magnet in horizontal direction, the magnetic moment changes. Here M by N. Right. Next. Whereas in vertically cutting magnet, what happens to the magnetic moment? So actual magnetic moment is capital M. So here also the magnetic moment changes. So that is M by N. Change in magnetic moment is M by N. Here also the magnetic moment changes. So that is equal to capital M is 2L by N. Capital M is 2L by N. Because here the magnetic moment changes, M is nothing but pole strength. The magnetic moment changes, so the pole strength is also changes. Right? So here also the magnetic moment changes, that is capital M by N. Remember, it is the bar magnet, right? North pole and south pole. If you bend this bar magnet to this like this, you bend the bar magnet. Clear? Here, the pole strength will not change. Pole strength won't change, will not change, but the magnetic moment changes. But the magnetic moment changes. Because of here the length decreases between that north pole and south pole, the length decreases, so that the magnetic moment capital M will change. Right? Next one. When a thin bar magnet of magnetic moment is bent at the middle, exactly at the middle. Okay. When a thin bar magnet of magnetic moment is bent at the middle, like this. If you bend at the middle, right? Then in this case the pole strength will not change. Pole strength will not change. North and south. Here also north and south, the same bar magnet. Here you bend it at that middle. So here in this case the magnetic moment is M by root 2. The magnetic moment will be M by root 2. Right? Here. Next continuation is about inverse square law of magnetism. Right? So here north pole and south pole of a bar magnet. Right? Here these are the two poles. The force of attraction or repulsion, between the two poles of a magnet is directly proportional to its product of the pole strength and inversely proportional to the distance, square of the distance between them. Right? Let M1 and M2 are pole strengths, okay, and R is distance between two poles. R is the distance between two poles. Okay. Then the force of attraction between the two poles, M1 and M2 are the pole strengths and R is the distance between the two poles. The force of attraction or repulsion is directly proportional to the product of their pole strengths m1 and m2, product of m1 into m2, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, r square. Here the force of attraction between north pole and south pole is depends upon the pole strengths and also distance between the poles. If distance between the poles increases, r increases, it is inversely proportionality. So the force decreases. If r decreases, force increases. Let's compare these two bar magnets. Right? North pole, south pole, north pole and south pole. R, yes. Which distance R is more or S is more between the two poles? Obviously, R is greater than S. So the force of attraction between the poles for this magnet is more than this. Clear? If we consider the case, the distance between the two poles. So obviously m1, m2, m1 dash, m2 dash. So if you compare the pole strengths, then this magnet, the pole strengths are more for this first magnet. So obviously, if you consider the pole strengths, this magnet has more force of attraction than this. Clear? That depends upon the pole strength and the distance. Here distance is inversely proportional. So distance increases, force decreases. Distance decreases, force increases. And product of the pole strengths. From 1 and 2, I am writing as F is directly proportional to m1 into m2 by r square. m1 into m2 by r square. So here I am replacing this directly proportionality and placing a constant. So F is equal to k into m1 m2 by r square, where k is proportionality constant. Where k is proportionality constant, and the k value is mu by 4 pi, mu by 4 pi, mu by 4 pi. K value is mu by 4 pi. So that is equal to, we are writing the value here, 10 power minus 7, 10 power minus 7 Weber per ampere meter. Weber by ampere meter. So it is the k value. K value is mu by 4 pi. This mu by 4 pi value is 10 power minus 7. So k is the constant and it has the unit Weber by ampere meter. So F is equal to, instead of k I am writing mu by 4 pi. So F is equal to mu by 4 pi into m1 m2 by r square. m1 m2 by r square. Force unit is Newton. This is the formula for force, inverse square law of magnetism. Here magnetic lines of force, right? So as we are going to discuss about this magnetic lines of force, so magnetic first point, magnetic lines of force always travels from north pole to south pole externally, and internally it travels from south pole to north pole. And magnetic lines of force never intersect each other, never cross each other. Each line never crosses other line. And magnetic lines of force always forms a closed loop. Always forms a closed loop. It does not have any breakage. Does not have any breakage like this. And the magnetic lines of force, if the density of lines of force gives the intensity of the magnetic field. If density is more, then the magnetic intensity is more. As we know that density is nothing but more number of lines of force is more, then the magnetic strength is more. If less number of lines are more, if there is less number of lines, then the magnetic field force is less, right? Next one is magnetization. So magnetization means in what ways we can make a magnetic material into a magnet. As I already previously said that single touch method, right? North pole, south pole. Take a bar magnet and take a magnetic material. Single touch method. Double touch method. Okay, induction method. Induction and electric method. Electric method. So in this ways, you can make a bar magnet into a magnet. So in the single touch method, take a bar magnet and take a magnetic material whose we want to make that into a magnet. It is the magnetic material, it is the magnet. Okay, take a bar magnet and place it at one end and drag it till the end up to here and lift it up. Again place it at the starting place and drag it to the end. If you do it for several times, it acts as a magnet. Next, double touch method. It is also looks like single touch method, but here in this case we are using two magnets. So these two magnets we are placing at the center of the magnetic material and drag it to other ends. You drag it to this side and you drag to this side to the complete ends and lift it up and again place it at the center, drag it to the ends, lift it up, and if you do it for several times, it acts as a double touch. It acts as a magnet. It is the magnetic material and it acts as a magnet. Next one, induction method. If it is a bar magnet and if you keep a magnetic material near to the bar magnet, very near to the bar magnet, as we have done that in the previous videos, magnetic induction. You kept a safety pin near to the bar magnet so that the safety pin acts as a magnet. After some time it acts as a magnet. That is induction method. Electric method. It is the magnetic material. To the magnetic material, if you want the copper wire, right, and to that copper wire if we give the DC supply, this magnetic material acts as a magnet till that the supply is exists. Right? If you remove the supply, it does not act as a magnet. Clear? So in this way we can make a magnetic material into a magnet. So there are few points regarding this magnetism. First one, if you are taking the soft iron, right? If you are taking the soft iron and to the soft iron, the magnetism is temporary. In the soft iron, the magnetism is temporary. Whereas in the steel, the magnetism is permanent. If you use soft iron, it is for the magnetic field is temporary, so it is made for temporary magnets. If you use the steel, it is for permanent magnets. Because of the material differences, so that soft iron is used for making temporary magnets and steel is used to make permanent magnets. Till now we saw that in what ways we can make a magnetic material into a magnet by four ways: single touch method, double touch method, induction method and electric method. But in what ways we can make a magnet into a magnetic material, like demagnetize? How can we reduce the magnetic power of a magnet? Right? First one is heating. By heating we can reduce the magnetic power. Second one, hammering. Next, rough handling. Rough handling. So we have to take care about that magnet so that the magnetic power will remain for long time. So if you use that magnet in a rough way, so that the magnetic power will reduce by passing AC current. By passing AC supply. So in the previous case, in the electric method, we saw that we give the electricity supply to make that it as a magnet. But in that case, we gave that DC supply, direct current, DC, right? But in this case, if you pass the AC supply to a magnet, the magnetic power will loses of that magnet because of we should not pass the AC supply to a magnet. We can give that DC supply, right? So, and magnets are used to store that magnets, and to not to lose that magnetic power, we must use that store keepers, and the store keepers we nothing but magnetic store keepers, so that we must place the magnets inside the store. So magnets are used in motors, generators, powerful magnets are used in motors, generators, powerful magnets are used, right? Next, in loudspeakers, we will use the magnets in loudspeakers. Next, magnetic leviation trial. Magnetic leviation trial. So there is a trial which runs with the magnetic property, right? Next, electromagnets. In electromagnets, there we use the electromagnets. So this is used in some to lift the heavy weights. We use electromagnets, right? These electromagnets we use in trains, bells, electric bells, etc. Here, so like this. So there are so many uses here. Thank you.